Start Malta. Friends, today's topic is submerged soils. Often these submerged soils are also known as waterlogged soils, sometimes as paddy soils, because paddy is the only crop that comes up very well under submerged conditions. With this background, first let us define what are submerged soils. Soils saturated with water for prolonged periods, having a characteristic glave horizon formed due to continuous reduced conditions are called submerged soils. Therefore, if we go through the definition carefully, it appears that these are the soils having enough water, say enough stagnant water. Secondly, they are having a characteristic glave horizon. In fact, it is a bluish green colored horizon formed due to continuous reduced conditions. Now, let us discuss something about the characteristic features of submerged soils. The first point, these soils are characterized by the presence of partially oxidized or partially reduced air horizon with high amounts of organic matter. Second point, presence of red and yellow color mottles or aggregates, sometimes they are also called spots, formed due to alternate oxidation and reduction conditions. Thirdly, the presence of a characteristic glave horizon, bluish green colored horizon formed at certain depth due to the continuous reduced conditions. Next point, these are the soils devoid of oxygen. Fifth point, soils have enough accumulation of carbon dioxide. I mean, these are all highly CO2 accumulated soils. Sixth point, the pH of the soils will be around neutral. Normally, it will be in the range of 6.5 to 7.2. Next point, the specific conductance or EC of the soil increases on submergence. Next point, the soils will have very low EH values. I mean, these are all the highly reduced soils. Next point, the soils attain very high bulk density values. These are all the characteristic features of submerged soils. I mean, when soils are submerged, a series of physical, chemical, biological, and including the electrochemical changes take place. Now let us discuss something about the physical properties of the submerged soils. The first one is, it is the change in soil air composition. I mean, when the soils are submerged, the oxygen present in the soil goes out of the soil. I mean, both macro and micro pores are completely occupied by water. Therefore, there is no scope for air to be present in the soils. Secondly, huge amounts of carbon dioxide accumulates in the soil. The accumulation of carbon dioxide will be to the tune of 2.5 tons per hectare in the first 3 weeks of submergence. Coming to the second important physical property, it is the bulk density. Normally, the bulk density of the submerged soils will be more due to the decreased cohesion between the soil particles. Moreover, these are all the highly moist soils. Therefore, usually the moist soils get compacted more, and thus the bulk density increases. Coming to chemical properties, the chemical properties are mainly due to the accumulation of large quantities of carbon dioxide. Actually, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide increases in the soil due to its accumulation. Further, the accumulated carbon dioxide reacts with the soil water and forms a weak acid, that is carbonic acid. This carbonic acid is responsible for driving the various chemical reactions in the soil. Consequently, the weak acid, that is carbonic acid, dissolves the native calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate, and thus the calcium and magnesium concentrations increase in the soil. At the same time, the various oxidized species, particularly iron hydroxides and manganese hydroxides, are greatly reduced. Thus, Fe plus 2 concentration and Mn plus 2 and Mn plus 3 concentrations increase due to submergence. Sometimes these Fe plus 2 and Mn plus 2 may become toxic to the growing plants. Now coming to the electrochemical properties, there are three important electrochemical properties. One is the pH, the second one is the specific conductance or the electrical conductance, and the third important property is it is the redox. Often this is known as EH, oxidation and reduction potential. First, let us discuss something about the pH of the submerged soils. The pH of acid and lateritic soils increases on submergence. This is mainly due to the reduction of ferric and manganic compounds. I mean, FeOH thrice, ferric hydroxide, gets converted into ferrous hydroxide, FeOH twice plus OH ions. Huge amounts of hydroxyl ions are released. Consequently, the pH of these acid and acid lateritic salts increases on submergence. On the other hand, in calcareous salts and alkaline salts, the pH of the salts decreases on submergence. This is mainly due to the production of the carbonic acid. You know that the carbonic acid is highly unstable, therefore it immediately dissociates into hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions. I mean, the overall H ion concentration of the soil increases. Consequently, the pH of alkaline and calcareous soils decreases. One more thing what we have to appreciate is, irrespective of the initial pH of the soil, the soil pH will be around neutral. Almost it will be in the range of 6.5 to 7.2 when the soils are submerged. Coming to the second important electrochemical property, that is electrical conductance or specific conductance. Normally, the specific conductance increases on submergence. The increase in electrical conductance can be attributed to two important reasons. The first reason is it is due to the increase in concentration of Fe plus 2 and Mn plus 2 ions due to the reduction of ferric hydroxide and manganic hydroxide compound. The second important reason is it is due to the increase in concentration of calcium and magnesium ions due to the dissolution of the native calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. And thirdly, in submerged soils, ammonical ions accumulate. I mean, the nitrification process is blocked. The conversion of ammonical ions into nitrate ions is stopped. Therefore, ammonical ions accumulate. Overall, there will be an increase in concentrations of Fe plus 2, Mn plus 2 and ammonical ions. Consequently, the specific conductance or the electrical conductance increases on submergence. oxygens. Coming to the third important electrochemical property, that is EH or redox, oxidation and reduction status of the soil. You know that in submerged soils, the anaerobic conditions prevail. The soils are devoid of oxygen. Therefore, the microbes utilize the oxidized species to get their to meet their oxygen requirement. Therefore, the microbes convert these oxidized species into their reduced species. For example, nitrates are converted into ammonical anions. Sulfates are reduced into H2S or sulfides. Similarly, Mn4 plus becomes Mn plus 2 or Mn plus 3. Ferric ions are converted into ferrous ions. Carbon is reduced as CH4, that is methane. See, actually, the redox involves the transfer of electrons. Organic matter is considered as the donor of electrons, and the acceptors are these oxidized species. See, when the soils are submerged, series of compounds undergo reduction. Ferric ions, and only at the end, phosphorus ions are reduced. Actually, this series, I mean the sequential reduction of oxidized species, is given by the Ponnam-Peramo in the year 1964. Coming to the nutrient transformations in submerged soils. First, let us discuss about nitrogen transformation. Actually, the transformation of ammonical ions into nitrate ions is choked, or it is blocked. Therefore, ammonical ions simply accumulate in the soil. At the same time, the advantage is ammonical ions are strongly held on the colloidal surfaces. I mean, if they are converted into nitrate ions, simply they are subjected to leaching loss. Now there is no loss of nitrogen because of the stoppage or the blockage of the nitrification process. Secondly, denitrification or the gaseous losses of N is also reduced. I mean, overall, the nitrogen status of the submerged soils increases. Coming to phosphorus transformation, usually in submerged soils, P availability enhances. It is mainly attributed to the soil pH, that is the neutral pH when soils are submerged. Coming to micronutrient transformations, particularly iron and manganese transformations, actually ferric and manganic ions are converted into ferrous and manganese ions. Coming to sulfur transformation, sulfur gets converted into H2S gas, and this gas may become toxic to the growing plants. Similarly, Fe+2 and Mn+2 or Mn+3 ions may also become toxic to the growing plants. However, because of the production of H2S gas, the toxicity of Fe+2 ions decreases in submerged soils. This is because Fe+2 reacts with H2S and forms FeS. FeS is highly insoluble. Therefore, to some extent, the toxicity of Fe+2 and also H2S ions is greatly reduced. Then coming to the pH, pH will be around neutral. In fact, this is considered as a favorable pH as far as the availability of majority of the plant nutrients is concerned. Now let us discuss something about the effects of low EH values on the soils and also on the plants. First point, low EH values actually affect the germination of rice and also the seedling emergence, but low EH values do not affect the therefore there will be accumulation of ammonical ions. Overall, there will be an increase in the concentration of nitrogen in soil. Thirdly, low redox values benefit rice crop by enhancing the availability of nitrogen, phosphorus, silicon, molybdenum, iron, and manganese. And the last point, the low EH values harm the rice crop by decreasing the availability of sulfur, copper, and zinc. Coming to the likely question on this topic, the first question is, it is the definition of submerged soils. Soils saturated with water for prolonged period having a characteristic clay origin are called submerged soils. The second question is, mention the most important characteristic features of submerged soils. The first one is the presence of partially reduced or partially oxidized F horizon with enough organic matter. The second point, presence of red and yellow color mortars. The third one is the presence of clay horizon, a bluish green color horizon formed due to continuous reduced conditions. The next important one is these soils are devoid of oxygen. Next point, there will be greater accumulation of carbon dioxide. Next point, the pH of the soils will be around neutral. Next point, EC increases on submergence. Next point, the redox values decrease. Normally, the redox values will be negative in submerged soils. The values may range from minus 300 to minus 400 millivolts. Whereas in anaerobic soils, the EH values will be ranging from plus 500 to plus 700 millivolts. Then the next important characteristic feature is the bulk density. Bulk density increases on submergence. The next question is, in fact, it is a lengthy question. Describe the various electrochemical changes that occur in submerged soils. There are three important electrochemical properties. One is the pH, the second one is the specific conductance. Often it is called EC. The third one is the redox. Normally the pH of acid and acid lateritic soils increases on submergence. It is mainly due to the reduction of ferric and manganic hydroxides. Whereas the pH of alkaline and calcareous soils decrease on submergence, mainly due to the production of weak acid, that is carbonic acid. Overall, the pH of the soils will be around neutral when they are submerged. Coming to EC, EC increases on submergence mainly due to three important reasons. First reason is it is due to the accumulation of Fe plus 2 and Mn plus 2 or Mn plus 3 due to the reduction of their oxidized species. The next one is the accumulation or due to the accumulation of calcium and magnesium ions. Thirdly, it is due to the accumulation of ammonical ions. Overall, there will be an increase in concentration of these ions. Therefore, increase in ion concentration means the increase in the specific conductance or electrical conductance of the salts. The next important electrochemical property is the redox. Definitely in submerged salts, highly reduced conditions exist. Therefore, the oxidized species, particularly nitrates, ferric, manganic, sulfur, and carbon, they are reduced. They are reduced. For example, nitrates are reduced into ammonical ions. Carbon is reduced into methane. Sulfur is reduced into H2S or sulfide ions. Fe plus 3, Fe plus 2, Mn4 plus becomes Mn plus 2 or Mn plus 3. Secondly, in submerged soils, the AH values will be quite low. I mean, the low AH values indicate highly reduced conditions. Whereas in well-aerated soil, the AH values will be in the range of plus 500 to plus 700 millivolts. Whereas in submerged soil, the values may range between minus 300 and minus 400 millivolts. According to Ponnampermu, 1965, actually he has listed out the various compounds in the form of a series. According to him, the first compound that is going to be reduced is oxygen, then comes nitrate ions, then it is a ferric, sulfate, like that, and phosphate ions are reduced only at the end. The next question is, write something about the nutrient transformation in submerged soils. You have to highlight the N transformation. I mean, the ammonical process is nitrification process is blocked. 1 minute. As far as nutrient transformations are concerned, first it is the nitrogen transformation. Ammonical ions are not converted into nitrate ions. This is an advantage. Otherwise, nitrate ions have been subjected to leaching losses, or else they may be lost due to denitrification process. I mean, in submerged soils, overall, the nitrogen status increases. Secondly, phosphorus availability enhances. And thirdly, iron availability and manganese availability enhances due to the reduction of the oxidized counterparts. Coming to sulfur transformation, sulfur is converted into H2S, and H2S may become toxic to the growing plants. And overall, there will be the pH of the soil will be neutral. You know that at neutral pH range, majority of the plant nutrients are greatly available to the growing plants. Coming to the effects of, the next question will be, what are the effects of low AH values? There are 4 effects. First one is low AH values harm the germination and the seedling emergence, but low AH values do not harm the well-established plants. This is one thing. The second one is low AH values destroy nitrate ions, and thus the ammonical ions accumulate in the soil. Overall, there will be an increase in the concentration of ammonical ions. Third effect is the low AH values benefit rice crop by enhancing the availability of nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, manganese, molybdenum, and silica. And the last one, low AH values harm the crop plants by decreasing the availability of zinc, copper, and sulfur. And sometimes I told you, these submerged soils are called waterlogged soils. When you have been asked to define waterlogged soils, you have to define with respect to the depth of the water table. Normally, if the depth of the water table is within 2 meters from the soil surface, such soils are called waterlogged soils. If the depth of the water table is between, say, beyond 2 and up to 3 feet, such soils are called potential waterlogged soils. If the water table is beyond 3 meters, they are called non-waterlogged soils. This is all about the submerged soils or waterlogged soils. You know that paddy is the an important crop that can be raised without hesitation in these submerged soils. Okay, thank you. Children,